Dallas, Texas, round of 16. The clock ticks into injury time and Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup dream is hanging by a thread. Portugal are pushing bodies forward, throwing everything at a back line that simply will not break. Then Mikel Merino finds a pocket of space, and the ball is in the net. 1-0. Spain are through. But here's the number that actually matters from that night, and from every night before it: 0. That's how many goals Spain have conceded across the entire tournament. You'd assume a team built around Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, and a suffocating passing rhythm wins football matches with its attack. That's the story everyone tells. But flip it, Spain haven't gone deep into this World Cup because of what they do with the ball. They've gone deep because of what happens the split second they lose it. Let's reframe this properly. Spain's forward line has actually looked rusty for stretches of this tournament. They drew their opener 0-0 against Cape Verde. Their star winger, Lamine Yamal, has been managing a hamstring issue and hasn't been at full sharpness. And yet, through a group stage and 2 knockout rounds, no opponent has found the back of their net, not once. This isn't an attacking side coasting on talent. This is a defensive machine that happens to have talented attackers standing in front of it. Let's stack up the evidence, because the numbers tell a story that the highlight reels don't. Spain finished top of Group H with 7 points, a draw, and 2 wins. The tightest of those, a 1-0 grind against Uruguay to seal it. In the round of 32 against Austria, a team desperate for something to cling to. Spain didn't just win 3-0, they didn't allow Austria a single shot on target. Think about that. 90 minutes of a knockout World Cup match, and the opponent could not test the goalkeeper once. It was Spain's first World Cup knockout victory since 2010, the year they lifted the trophy. And now, alongside Spain, only the host nation Mexico can also say they haven't conceded a single goal in this tournament. 2 teams out of 48 with a clean sheet through the knockouts. That is not an accident. That is a system. So what is the system? Let's put this on the board. Picture Spain's shape without the ball. Most teams talk about a low block or a high press like they're 2 separate ideas you pick between. Spain do both, but the switch between them is the actual genius. Manager Luis de la Fuente sets his side in what looks, on paper, like a fairly standard back 4. But watch what happens the instant possession is lost. The 2 nearest players don't retreat. They engage immediately. In the 5 seconds right after the turnover, a coaching principle often called the counterpress or gegenpress, if you've heard that word thrown around and never had it explained. Spain execute this with a suffocating discipline. If the counterpress wins the ball back, great. If it doesn't, and the opponent escapes that first wave, that's when the entire team drops into a compact mid-block, a deliberately narrow, deliberately patient defensive line that dares you to play through the middle, where they have numbers rather than around the outside, where they don't. Spain's fullbacks, particularly Pedro Porro on the right, aren't purely attacking outlets. Porro scored his first international goal against Austria, rising to head home across. And it's tempting to file that under attacking output, but look at his positioning in the build-up before that goal. He tucks inside far more often than a traditional fullback would, occupying what's called a half space, the vertical corridor between the winger and the center back, rather than hugging the touchline. That means when Spain lose the ball, already positioned to snuff out a counterattack through the middle, instead of being caught upfield and out of the picture. It looks like an attacking decision. It's actually a defensive insurance policy that pays out 60 seconds later. Now here's the twist, the part that flips the entire narrative on its head. Everyone assumes Spain's attacking issues, the slow start against Cape Verde, Yamal's fitness struggles, would be their downfall in this tournament. Instead, those exact struggles may have accidentally built their greatest strength. A Spain side forced to be patient in possession, unable to rely on a fully fit Yamal to simply win a game individually, has had to defend more collectively and more often, simply because they haven't been racing into 2 and 3 goal leads. Against Austria, against Portugal, they were in matches that stayed close, matches where one mistake would have cost them. And in those matches, the pattern held every single time. The counterpress, the compact block, the half-space fullbacks. That team never finds out if its defensive structure actually works under pressure, because it's never actually under pressure. Spain have been under pressure in almost every match, and the answer, every single time, has been 0 goals conceded. There's a quieter story in here too. about goalkeeping and center back partnerships that rarely make the highlight package. A clean sheet isn't just a back four doing its job. It's a goalkeeper commanding his box so confidently that center backs don't have to gamble on individual duels. And it's center backs, Aymeric Laporte among them, reading the counterpress well enough to step out and intercept rather than backing off and inviting a shot. Every zero on that scoreboard is really 4 or 5 separate decisions, made correctly, in sequence, dozens of times a match. So what does this mean going forward? Spain now face Portugal's conqueror's potential path, tougher opposition in the later rounds, teams with sharper individual quality who might finally punish a half-second lapse. But the psychological weight of that number, 0, is its own kind of pressure on every attacker who steps out to face them. Ask any striker in world football and they'll tell you, breaking a run like this isn't just about finding a gap in a back four, it's about believing the gap exists at all. After watching 6 straight matches where it hasn't, real quality up front like Yamal, Williams, and Oyarzabal is what gets replayed on highlight shows. But championships, historically, get won by whoever concedes the fewest goals when it matters most. Spain won the European Championship 2 years ago, playing some of the most fluid attacking football on the continent. This time, the story might be written by the back four instead. When Spain finally do concede, and eventually, statistically, they will it be because their system broke down? Or will it simply be because they'd already scored enough to stop caring? 90 minutes at the Bernabeu isn't where this story started. It started 3 weeks of training camp ago, in the decision to counterpress before anyone else could react, and in a fullback who chose to stand in the middle of the pitch instead of the edge of it. That's not luck. That's the genius nobody's talking about.